we go. Okay, so I would ask that you keep yourself muted otherwise for the majority of the service, as we found some of the background noise kind of interferes with everybody's enjoyment or ability to hear what's going on. Again, during the sharing portion, if you want to be called on, simply either raise your hand physically. If you can find the little button that says raise your hand, hit that, and I'll definitely make every effort to call on you. So the Church of the Angels, as you probably know, we try to be as inclusive as possible and invite those of all different opinions and backgrounds to share and join us with our services. All speakers are prompted to leave politics and any politically charged topics outside of our gatherings. And that way we can try to promote spiritual unity among us, even though we're aware that there may be differences in some of our private lives and in some of our opinions. And we also know that our true selves, our universal self, is always united in love. So with that said, I want to mention that if you want to make a donation to the Church of the Angels, you can do so through our website. And you have the opportunity to make your donation a recurring one if you choose, which I need to do personally because I keep losing track of time. So again, you can have that be an automatic thing. And that certainly helps the church plan and budget as well. And there is a separate donation page on our website. And on that page, you'll be able to choose what or where your donation goes towards. So again, we want to thank all those who have donated throughout this year and helped us stay strong throughout the past several more challenging months. So now for our opening prayer. Mother, Father, Infinite Spirit, thank you for your blessings on those joining us today to honor your work and experience your grace, love, and wisdom. Thank you for providing the appropriate thoughts, insights, actions, and all resources for us to gain a better and truer understanding of your love by the words spoken and by the healing brought forth here today, so that we might lead healthy, happy, and prosperous lives. Thank you for showing us the way to accept responsibility for our lives. Thank you for the abundance of faith, grace, and love in our lives. We are grateful to know you are with us always, and so it is. And if you're comfortable, please join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. And now I've asked Megan Horvat to read our statement of principles.
There is one creative force of which all life is a part. This one creative force is known by many names and manifestations. We recognize and honor the many names and manifestations of the one creative force, the source of all creation, one in God. The energy of life everywhere is continuous. All consciousness is continuous. Communication is continuous. The energy of life, consciousness, and communication never cease, even after the event that is perceived as death. One creates one's own reality. One creates in harmony with the one creative force, the great power of God, of which all life is a part. Reality is as one chooses to perceive and will change as one grows in knowledge of the inner self and one's relationship with the God of his understanding. All things are possible with faith, insight, knowledge, understanding, acceptance, and love. Love is the unifying energy of the universe. Love is the energy of the one creative force, the wisdom of God. All life and all mankind are one in the creatorship and healing force of love and with each other. Love is within us and of us. Love is never apart from us. It is we who separate ourselves from the power of love. The force of God works through love and love alone.
Hey, thank you so much, Megan. I do appreciate that. And now we're going to have a few moments of quiet meditation so that we can concentrate on going within to find that peace that's within, to find the calm that we have within us, and to find the healing that we have for ourselves and for the world around us. So thank you for some meditative music, Bobby. Take your time. Gently come back to the present space, remembering that we are always connected to each other and to the divine. Use this calm, centered peacefulness to take care of yourselves and those around you in your communities and throughout the world in whatever way you can. And in the space of silence, please add silently or out loud the names of those you wish to include in this healing energy. And so it is. Thank you so much, Reverend Bobby. That was amazingly beautiful music. My goodness. What a treat. Definitely promoted my stilling. So thank you for that. And now we're going to raise our vibration with a song of a different type brought to us by Reverend Bobby.
Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Come on now. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Oh, high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Whoa, pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I'm starting to see you. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Now I can see you.
Ooh, awesome. Thank you, Reverend Bobby. Beautiful music today. All right. Thank you so much. So now it's time for inspiration and thought exchange brought to us by today's speaker. And let me just kind of rearrange some of the technology parts here. There we go. So we invite everyone to address this assembly with words of inspiration or lessons that you've learned in life, passionate ideas that you may hold, and any opinions expressed are simply those of the person who gives them. Let us consciously and lovingly agree to sometimes disagree. If stuff doesn't resonate for us, take the best, leave the rest. Okay, so our speaker today is Reverend Pat Gates. I'm looking forward to hearing what she has to say. She's a very wise woman with a lot of life experiences that she will be bringing for us today. And so Reverend Pat, after pursuing a career for many years in retail and the technical world, Reverend Pat Gates left it behind to pursue a life anchored in spiritual endeavors. And in the early 1990s, Reverend Pat attended a spiritualist church in Euclid, Ohio. A friend and a church member introduced her to Reverend Walt Faster at that time, whose mediumship and healing work Reverend Pat had witnessed on previous several occasions. At that time, Reverend Pat was at a pretty low spot in life, and her personal struggles turned out to actually be a source of blessing. And leave it to Pat to see it this way, because it impelled her to telephone Reverend Walt, who gave her a phone healing right then and there. And she says that that experience was life altering. And consequently, Reverend Pat became a member of the church, served as a member of the board for several terms. And it was there that she also met Reverend Shanna Spalding, who is a gifted medium and teacher as well. So she studied intensely with Reverend Walt and Reverend Shanna Spalding, taking every class they offered, and she attended development circles. I remember her from those days as well. And took several of the courses led by Reverend Shanna. To bring her up to speed today, or up to date, then in October of 2015, Reverend Pat was ordained as a minister of the Church of the Angels, and she continues her studies spiritually and through body work. She's an active spiritual healer during our services, and again, has been active on the board off and on for several years. So thank you very, very much, Reverend Pat. Thank you for sharing your wisdom today, and I'm looking forward to what you have to offer us.
Good morning. I have to tell you that I'm a little nervous today because it's been a while since I've had long discussions with people. So, title of my talk today is "It's Okay to Not Be Okay." I had the television on, and all of a sudden I heard this statement that it's okay to not be okay. And where I was and still am at that particular moment is I'm not okay with where I am, but I am okay with where I am. But it also triggered some hurtful childhood memories and even memories as an adult. Having someone put you in a role and they won't let you out. This is how they dictate your life for you. You know, and parents will tell you, my father told me he wouldn't pay for me to go to college because I was not a very good student. I passed, but I didn't put a whole lot of effort into my education in high school. And at that time, there were very few roles that women were allowed besides teacher, nurse, or secretary, none of which I was interested in. So I had a job, so I went full time on my job. But I resented that they wouldn't allow me to go to college or even figure out if I wanted to do something else. But my younger sister, was able to go to college, and they helped pay for her college. And then I got married, and I married a man who I have to tell you, I'm very handy with a lot of things. I prefer making things or doing things over keeping a clean house. I would rather tear a wall out and rebuild it. I would rather go outside and cut the lawn or do landscaping than to be in the house and dust and vacuum. That was not how I enjoyed life at that time. But my husband at that time criticized me because he wanted me to be more of a wife and a mother and a housekeeper than to be the handyman. He wasn't handy at all. So I took over the role. But he was not happy with me taking over that role. He was also not happy with my appearance. Now, I have to tell you, I worked part-time in a warehouse. So I would go to work in pigtails and blue jeans and my smock. And he would say to me, why do you look better going to work than you do at home? Now, how can you look any better at home if you're going to work with pigtails, blue jeans, and a smock? So these are criticisms that that say you're not okay. And you have to find somewhere along the line to say, yes, I am okay. Well, I am okay because I divorced him. I did not stay married to him because I rebelled against all of those labels, that those little boxes he was trying to put me in. Those were not boxes that I saw myself in. I also didn't see myself, no, I was not college material. I won't lie about that. But I still resented being told that I couldn't go to college because I was not a good student. Well, I was 36 the first time I went back to school. And I went to electronics school. I was the only woman in the class. And I got straight A's and graduated. And it was to learn to fix computers. So I got a job, surprising, after graduation from electronics school, working in a computer store. And I didn't really repair, because at that time it's really, and it still is, identifying what's wrong and then replacing it with a board. What I did at that time, and we're going back to 1985. I don't know what you know or remember about computers back in 1985. Jenny's laughing. Yeah, oh, it was the little IBM. And you had 5 1/4 floppy disks and no hard drives and 64K of memory. So compared to today's computers, those are like, they would not work today with today's technology. So my job at that particular time was to rebuild the machines, to add hard drives, pull out floppy drives, put a hard drive in, put in boards that added memory to the computer. And then later I found out that the only reason I got hired to do that was because the man who ran the that particular department was mad at the store owner, and he thought he was paying the store owner back for whatever perceived, whatever you want to call it, So, but I have to tell you, I outlasted both of them. I outlasted him, the boss of the repair department, and I outlasted the gentleman who was doing most of the repairs. So I worked for that company for 16 years through 2 buyouts and a company split. So that was my career. And again, my career there was very left brain, very logical. So I would solve problems. They put me in charge of their returns department. So I was working with manufacturers and customers taking returns. So again, putting yourself into a box. I was put into this box at the company I worked at. And more than one company, because again, we go back to the generation I grew up in. I worked after I got married, and then I got divorced, and I got a different job. And my boss at that particular time would not train me for anything. He said, you women only get married and get pregnant and leave. So there's no career path. There were no career paths for women, again, unless you were a nurse, a teacher, or a secretary. So I was I was kind of a secretary, but not really. But it's, you know, it's difficult to overcome those labels, and those things, those perceptions by other people tell us there's something wrong with us. And I disagree with that. There's nothing wrong with us. Somebody's perception is what is not correct. But how do you get over those things? How do you begin to learn to accept yourself as you are? And it's not easy, because those labels stay with us sometimes for a very long time because they're hurtful. And we buy into it because the people who are giving us those messages are people who are important in our lives and who are supposed to love us. Now, in my opinion, that's not very loving. So, and it teaches you how not to love yourself. It teaches you that your emotions are wrong. There's nothing wrong with your emotions. I remember as a kid being told, "What are you crying about? If you keep crying, I'll give you something to cry about." You know, and of course that was meant a good smack somewhere at that time. You can't do that today, but so you were taught that our emotions are wrong, and they're not wrong. They just are. They just are who we feel. A friend of mine lost her daughter to suicide, going on almost 3 years now. And many well-meaning people and some of her family think she should be over the loss of her daughter. She's not. But she didn't allow the loss of her daughter to prevent her from moving on with life. She is trying to make the best out of a bad situation. She recently took some, there was an instructor who was teaching yoga for grieving people. So she took those classes and she really resonated with that. She's looking at becoming an advocate for people who are grieving it. And it doesn't matter whether you're a parent whose child has committed suicide or your husband or wife has passed. But people tell us that we're not allowed to grieve for any length of time, or we should get over it and move on with our lives. But how we move on with our lives can be a positive way rather than a way to be stuck and immobile. So right now, and it's the same thing I about our spiritual choices. I don't know about you, but I didn't really grow up with a religion. And we were only, because my father was not Catholic and my mother was, we were only allowed to go to church on holidays. And what I heard in church was not a loving God in that particular religion. That was a God who was going to punish you if you didn't follow the rules. Well, if you don't know what the rules are all the time, you're going to be punished. And I just said, that's not a loving God to me. That's not someone that I want to call father in my life. And at that particular time too, I was not happy with my father because he was very rigid and not very compassionate. So if I looked at a father role, that's not the father role I wanted. So it wasn't until much later in my years that I got connected to the Spiritualist Church in Euclid and have stayed with spiritualism pretty much throughout the years since then, taking a small hiatus when I started my business, because I went back to school again when I was in my mid-50s. And again, I graduated with good marks, and it was for massage therapy. So I took my tests for my license, and I got my license in 2003. And then I started my own business. I quit the job that I had. Actually, I quit it while I was in school because it was too hard for me to study the way I wanted to study and work. So I lived off of my 401k for 2 years. And, and you really go, okay, this is what I think I'm supposed to do. And you use up the money you have, hoping that the universe will provide for you if this is the right place for you. We never know what the right place is until we try things. And I was sitting here remembering that, people will tell you you can't do, you're not good enough to do certain things. Well, one year, when I do a New Year's resolution, I usually pick one thing to work on for the whole year, not a whole bunch. Well, the one year I decided I was going to try different things I've never tried before. So I took singing lessons. Let me tell you, I'm not a great singer, but I took the lessons because I wanted to, because I like to sing, even if it's off key. At that time they had Corporate Challenge, where you had teams of people from different corporations doing different things. I did the swimming part of it. Again, not great. And there you are in front of many people doing your swimming or whatever it was. So I chose to, and we were never taken to the ballet or to any shows. So I bought a season ticket one year to go to the ballet. And then I bought one to go to the opera one year. And then I bought one to do the shows, because these were things I wanted to try. Not that I was good at a lot of things. Oh, I took pottery too. Could not work the wheel worth anything, but I had a good time playing in the mud. It's fun to go out there and get dirty in the dirt. So I tried a lot of things. Was not good at a lot of things, but it didn't matter. You don't know what you're good at until you try it. And so what led me to go to massage therapy school was taking a class on energetic healing. And I'm going, well, I like doing this, but I'm not going to make money at it. And I knew I wasn't going to stay at the job that I was at. So I tried massage, and I found that I was very good at it and I liked it a lot. So again, I don't know what's okay not to be okay. Well, really the whole issue is my health. I've had one heck of a year since January. I got sick with a very severe sinus infection that put me out for about a week. Went back to work for about a week, and then ended up in the hospital with blood clots and ultimately pneumonia. And it was hard to accept, and it's still hard to accept. I am tethered to this machine by 57 feet of tubing that allows me to wander my house. I can go down the basement. My bedroom's upstairs, so my 57 feet of tubing allows me to go upstairs and go to bed, allows me to use the downstairs bathroom, allows me to go to the basement so I can wash clothes. But by any means I don't want to be tethered to this 57 feet of tubing. But I have to be okay with that. I like to be okay with that. Because otherwise I can't breathe. Or I'm better now, but when I first started all of this, I couldn't breathe. And I'm on medication. I was very proud of myself because I never was on any medication other than supplements. I am now on a blood thinner, which is the reality is I don't have a choice. Not if I want to continue to live, and that sounds very strong, but there's a lot of reality in that. So I'm on the oxygen, I'm on a blood thinner. And then I said to my doctor, I said, can I go back to work? Now this was in mid-January, I was in the hospital. And in the beginning of February, I said, can I go back to work? And she said, yes, as long as you go with oxygen. Well, I went with oxygen, the big tanks of oxygen. Well, they weren't so big the first time. But you only have 2 to 2.5 hours per tank. So you either carry extra tanks with you, or you limit whatever you do to that 2.5 hours, which includes getting there and getting home. So, but I wanted to work because, like everybody else, I need the income. This has been a rough time for a lot of people not being able to work. So I figured as long as I'm on 2 feet and moving, I can work, oxygen or no oxygen. So then I got bigger tanks, which allowed me to, well, I didn't push it, but I could get 6.5 hours to 7 hours out of a big tank because they lowered the liters of oxygen I need. But I still go out of my house. Even now, I finally got a portable concentrator, which is a 12 by 12 box that you are connected to. And that only has 2.5 hours worth of oxygen on it. So you have to carry the car charger, or you have to carry the battery charger with you wherever you go, so you can plug yourself in case you go beyond the 2.5 hours. And I do. I'm pretty stubborn. That I resist the fact that my mobility is limited. So, but I have to accept that. And in accepting that, I have to live with my 57 feet of tubing when I'm home, and my 2.5 to 3 hours when I'm not home, and charge it up again. So the other thing is, I had my doctor, one of the doctors, I had to see so many doctors afterwards. He wanted me to wear a medical alert necklace. I don't wear bracelets because of the work I do. And what do you mean a medical alert necklace? So I have to have a medical alert necklace that says that I have pulmonary embolisms and I am on Eliquis, a blood thinner, in case somebody finds me and I'm unconscious. So I went back to my doctor a couple of weeks ago, hoping I could get off the oxygen, but also there's a reality there that we don't like. I take the oxygen off to go to the bathroom or to go in the kitchen and grab something. Well, one day I was in the kitchen too long. I was cooking. And then all of a sudden I realized that my oxygen level was really bad and I needed to go sit down and get back on the oxygen. And I hated to tell my doctor that, because I knew if I told my doctor that, she was going to keep me on the oxygen longer. So at that point, I'm on oxygen until at least mid-April, and then she'll reevaluate there. And she was also pushing me to get, well, not the COVID vaccine. Believe me, I didn't want to get the COVID vaccine. I want to wait. I wanted to wait until they got a little more history behind it. But the reality was, and she told me, it's either you get COVID with those blood clots in your lungs and you might not survive. So I went and got my first shot. Had every side effect you could imagine from it, but I got my first shot. Because those are things that I had to be okay with, even though I didn't want to be okay with them. If I want to survive this life, if I want to, because I've always felt I was going to live to be in my 90s and a feisty old broad. And if I want to get to my 90s as a feisty old broad, then I have to be okay with not being okay and doing what I can within whatever limitations life gives me. I can't stop living. I have to find how I can keep going comfortably for myself. I also had 2 hip replacements going on, 7 years ago. And that has provided some limitations too. but I can get around. I can do most everything that I want to do. The biggest thing I want to do is work because I love what I do. I love being a massage therapist. I love helping people get better, feeling better, and I love when it changes somebody's life, because it does. And as a massage therapist, they tell you, oh, don't let people talk when you're working. And I let people talk all the time, because number one, they'll give you the key sometimes to get them better. And it also releases some of the stress that they're under, just to be able to talk to somebody who's not going to pass judgment on them. But we cannot be stuck in those places that people want to put us in, or we want to put ourselves in. Faith, which I sometimes have a difficult time, especially when you're in a hospital and you don't know how long you're going to be there, and you don't know how long you're going to be out of work, and you go, how am I going to pay my bills? But then I remind myself that the universe has always provided. This is not the first situation that I've been in. Last year, I broke my wrist at the end of February. And then the medical board shut us down, shut the massage therapy down. And it was like, oh my God, now what? So I had a broken wrist and I couldn't work with a broken wrist. And then the medical board says you can't work anyway. Ultimately, I was allowed to apply for unemployment, which I got later, but after I went back to work, because the medical board finally said you can work as long as you are treating people who are under doctor's care and you have a prescription. So I was able to go back to work 6 weeks after I broke my wrist. And I have been, playing catch up kind of. But I've survived the last year, and we've all survived COVID. Well, most of us have survived COVID. And I'm surviving right now with all the things that I'm trying to be okay when I'm not okay. So I think that's all I have to say. They pulled the plug, said, you've rattled on enough. So thank you for listening, and enjoy your day. Get outside and do something if you can.
Thank you, Reverend Pat. And just to let you know, in the chat, one of our congregants listening to all that you've been through said that, it makes wearing a mask seem so trivial compared to being on oxygen and being as ill as you were, being unable to work and being in a hospital bed. And Reverend Vicki Jones is saying it's a very good talk. Thank you, Reverend Pat. We love you and we miss the live church, which, yeah, definitely. And again, Batya is appreciating your story as well, Reverend Pat. I think that, being as transparent as you were, and as Judy and Aaron is saying, it relates so much to your talk. Thank you, Reverend Pat, because there's been times all of us have not been okay. And sometimes we need somebody else's permission, crazy as it is, but we need somebody else's permission to say, it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to be frustrated or angry or not feel so spiritual, all those things when you're going through the muck. But the other part of your talk, you kept going through the muck. Like Winston Churchill said, when you're going through hell, keep going. So thank you for that lesson, Pat. And I open it up to other comments. I'm looking at the chat box again. People waiting, well done. Other folks that would like to unmute yourself, and you are such a fighter. Way to go, girl, from Fran Rubenstein. Absolutely, from one fighter to another. Other people, if you want to unmute yourself, make a quick comment. If not, move along. Thank you, Reverend Pat.
So glad
out there.
Better, Pat. Keep on keeping on. So you're a strong lady.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Again, thank you for the reality check. I guess you could say, among other things today. Thank
Yeah,
you for that, Reverend Pat.
I never knew you
comments?
had such a rich history. I just knew you were a great massage therapist. And I'm trying to massage with the apparatus on you. Can you still give massages?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, great.
Where there's a will, there's a way. We
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you've
Pardon?
ever had a massage from Pat, she finds every little sore spot you might never know you ever had, and it's no longer sore when she's done. So
She's
amazing,
fantastic and very
amazing
generous.
skills. Yeah, yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
all right. Any other comments before we move on?
Reverend Pat, it's Anne Marie. I just wanted to salute you for being true to yourself and what you've gone through and dealt with everything. It kind of resonated with me a few minutes before I signed on. My niece called me from Arizona, and she's grappling with her supervisor, who was kind of what you were saying, was telling her that she was being too emotional as a woman, that he had a hard time dealing with her. And he even went as far to telling her that she can't cry anymore when she's upset. So when they had conversations, she said, "You told me I can't cry, but now you're telling me I can't raise my voice. So how do I communicate?" And he actually wrote an email that she had to go to HR because of it. But as we're talking, she said, "Hold on a minute. I see something hanging from the tree in my backyard." It was a tea bag somehow that got flown up into the tree branch, and it had a tag on it with a message that says, "Your courage and strength will sustain you." And I went, what a message from Spirit for that. And then your talk. So I'm going to have to relay that to her too. So I think it's the whole universe giving a nod to all the strength of women and other
Yeah.
people that help out too. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Emery. And also from Tonda, she says to you, Reverend Pat, "I'm applauding your tenacity. Your talk is a powerful reminder of our bodies being a temporary rental space and our process of accepting, letting go of our own expectations." Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that feedback, Tonda. All right.
Thank you.
And Reverend Pat, thank you for, again, your talk today. So now I'm going to move into some announcements briefly. For today, we've got next week on 4/21, our speaker is going to be Mark Thomas. He is a teacher from Lilydale Fellowships of the Spirit. Reverend Jenny and I just took a 3-session course from him that started in January. Powerful, powerful stuff. He is an extremely wise, smart man, and I'm sure he'll be bringing us a message of something pretty profound that you'll be walking away with chewing on for the days to come. So next Sunday, be here would be a good thing. Mark Thomas is our speaker. Today at 1:30 to 4:30, we have a class with Reverend Carol Wood, Discovering Your Past Lives. The cost for that's $30, and there's still a few seats available, even though it's by Zoom. She can accommodate a couple more students yet. And then Monday, tomorrow night, we have Development Circle at 7 p.m. Again, that's going to be on Zoom. Our food drive, this has been a tough season for many people. So we're doing a food drive, collecting canned, non-perishable, non-expired foods. That'll be next Saturday at the church parking lot from 10 until 2. And then again on Sunday from noon until 2. You can drop off your items, and then we will get that to the Bainbridge Area Food for Friends so that it stays within our community to help people. And then on March 21st, Reverend Ann Bartlett is going to be having another advanced mediumship course. She's another phenomenal teacher. That's going to be by Zoom, 1 o'clock, $20 for that class next Sunday, the 21st. And then Monday, the 22nd, begins the 4-part series by Reverend Barbara Douglas. And that's going to be $80 for the whole series. And I know I didn't write down the title of that. And I know I want to say manifesting, but it's much greater than that. Reverend Barb, do you want to say a word about that, and then I'll get to Reverend Batia's announcement.
It's abundance, although after your comment, I changed it to spiritual abundance, being it, having it, sharing it.
Ooh, all right. So there we go. Being it, having it, sharing it for abundance. Nice. Thank you, Reverend Barb. And then Batia's got Painting from the Divine Feminine starting this coming Friday at 10 a.m. And you can email me. Her email is in the chat, winebombbatia@gmail.com. So that's coming up this Friday. And any other announcements going on? Going once, going twice. Okay. All right. So now we're going to move into some message work. Actually, we'll take a moment, just a few moments, if anybody would like to share very briefly how spirits touched your life in this past week. Either prayers that have been answered, messages that have rung a bell this past week. We know spirit's pretty busy at all times. Does anybody have any aha moments they want to share? Going once? I don't see anybody. All right. Well, we trust that spirit's still working on our behalf, when just sometimes we don't always connect with those buttons when I'm asking you all of a sudden here. So we're going to move into some message work. And as spiritualists, we believe that the energy of all beings is forever linked, that we have direct access to the love and guidance of loved ones, guides, teachers, saints, healers, and angels on the other side of life. And we have mediums who have joined us today who will have agreed to be of service and to connect with spirit to bring forth a few messages for us. So I am going to ask first for volunteers, and then you may get volunteered. I'm looking for volunteers for messages today. And then Reverend Barbara, I may ask for you to lead us off with a couple messages if you're inspired.
I was just unmuting myself.
Oh, thank you. Gosh.
Where is she now?
Maybe if you say their
Diane
name.
Dubrow, would you like a message? Does that mean yes? Okay.
Yes.
Diane, this is we have two beings. One is a great, I think a third great grandmother on your maternal side. And there's an angel with her, but the angel is also with you all the time. And the message is now, because of the new moon, which, if y'all don't know, we just had yesterday. And also as we move into spring, that this is for you, for all of us, a season of joy, a season of greening, a season of expansion. And both of them want you to know that, to go ahead and grow and expand as you move through these 29.6 days of the new moon and the spring season on all levels of your being, to expand into joy in all things. And I leave that with you with Spirit's blessing.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I have to find, oh, there he is. Bobby, would you like a message? He may not be there.
Heck, why not?
Oh, okay. I can hardly hear you there. This is someone on your dad's side. I think it's a great uncle who also was a musician. I don't think he was a professional musician, but he did some kind of music. And he wants you to know as we're moving forward, there's a part of you that will be coming forward in the spring. It's a part of you of more peace and of more gentleness. And I get it as a visual. He's showing me as a visual, so that as this comes forth, it's sort of like sprinkles over you, and there's much more unified, integrated Bobby that is a result of this motion as we're moving through the spring with this peace and this gentleness. I leave that with you as Spirit's blessing.
That sounds delightful. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me serve, Renda.
Absolutely. Thank you, Reverend Barbara. Thank you. And Reverend Jenny, you have your hand up. Although she might be locked up at the moment.
There you go. Okay, I'm good. Okay, yes, and I did not check ahead, so let me take a quick look. And Maria Passerell, they are pointing me to you. Would you like a message today? Okay, I got it. All right, as I touch them with you, I'm not sure what they have to say yet. Oh, okay, I have a woman stepping forward. I don't believe it's your mother, but it is a family member. I think I'm on your mother's side of the family, and we're going back. I don't know if you knew your great grandmother, but I think I am going back that far. Okay, well, she's touching him and wants to say good job with. Okay, there's something that you're planning. I don't know whether it's a family gathering for another couple of months or something that you're gathering. And she wants to give you kudos with that, and also that know that she's helping you with that. And she'll be there. Okay, she'll be there. She says that it is greatly needed. Just the event itself will change the energy in a personal situation, and it's not you, but it's between somebody, two other peeps, that there's some difficulty. Okay, and she says you don't have to do a darn thing. Just the event itself will help that energy and help change that up. Okay.
Perfect.
Let's see what else. Yeah, she's just extremely happy. And also, I don't know if your careers were similar or whatever you do, something that she wanted to do and didn't get to do. So she kind of enjoys that through you, whether it's your career or whether it's your family life. I'm not sure, but she definitely is around. Okay.
Thank
And
you so much.
I'll leave that with you with many blessings of spirit. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. Timothy Hurt. I don't know you, but would you like a message?
Yes, please.
All right. Hi, Timothy. All right. As I touch it with you, I want to say that there is a father figure that steps in. Is your father in spirit, or is this someone that's like a father that's coming in?
Dad's still here.
Dad's still here. Okay. Well, this is someone that is stepping forward in a fatherly fashion for you, in a fatherly way. And I don't know if kind of feels like he's stepping in that fatherly way for something that may be lacking. I don't know if you have difficulty with your dad, or it's neither here nor there, but he's stepping forward in a fatherly way. It feels more like a guide, but he wants to come in and play that role for you, and be a father figure. And this has to do with something concerning your career, actually, the work that you do. He wants to be there for you and give you support and let you know that the decisions that you are making concerning your career are the correct ones, even though sometimes they feel like, oh my God, what have I done? Or did I make the right decision? Or, how's this going to turn out? Don't worry about it. He says it is the right decision that you are making. And he comes in with an awful lot of love. And like I said, I think this is a guide that you can call on just to remind yourself that, or to, what's the word? Not remind yourself, but give yourself confirmation. That's the word. To confirm for yourself that you are making the right decisions. Okay. And I'll leave that with you with many blessings of spirit. And Tonda, would you like a message?
Thank you so much for that.
You're quite welcome. All right, Tonda, as I touch it with you, I want to say that there is, okay, we have garden fairies showing up. Okay. And they're very happy that you are happy about growing things. They like that about you, and you do grow some herbs and greens in your house too. Do you not? Yeah. Okay. Because they're saying that they are, there's one that needs to be moved. They're saying there's something that you need to, all right, you know what I mean or not? I'm not sure, but they're saying that there's one of those, and it's a green. It's not an herb. It's like a salad green, something that needs to be moved in the house. Okay. That needs to be shifted to a different window, or I don't know, or turned around. I'm not sure, but they're saying that there's one that needs to be moved. So look at that. You will know which one they're talking about. And if you, in your daily meditation, ask for their knowledge and wisdom, not their opinion. That you don't take to, and they're saying don't be asking us any special questions. No. But they are definitely going to communicate and be in contact with you and give you more information about what to plant, where to plant, what to do. Okay, so make use of them. They are there for you, and they're in the house. So in the house and with you. So yay. All right. And I'll leave that with you. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to serve, Cindy.
Absolutely. Thank you, Reverend Jenny. And just either briefly, although no pressure, either Anne Marie or Carol Miller, do you have messages you'd like to share today? If not, that's fine. Just give me the opportunity.
I'll be happy to.
Okay. Thanks, Anne Marie.
Let me see who. Lydia, may I come to you?
Yes, you may.
Okay, right away I have your father coming in. He's really right by your side. It seems to be important that he's not behind you, he's right next to you. And he's giving a reference to sunshine, that he wants you to go out. I think it's more of like being grounded and getting outside, that when things may seem to be a little too much, find your spot in the sun, put your face towards the sun, and you'll be re-energized. He's giving a reference to breathing, maybe doing some breath work, because he's like breathing in and breathing out and just letting go all that doesn't serve you. And he said, take that point in the sun, breathe in slowly, and just release everything else. And again, he says he is by your side. He will be with you. So maybe just kind of think of him when you're doing that. He's sending flowers too. Things are coming up from the ground, something about new growth. This is a figurative one, not literal, but he wants you to connect into, some flowers, and probably where you are, maybe you'll start seeing things growing more so than in Cleveland, but with springtime. But he just wants to let you know that he's there to help out. And I leave that with Spirit's blessing.
Thank you.
I think I might have one more.
Okay.
Katie Garrett, may I come to you?
Yes, please.
Okay. Katie I have another father. Is your father in spirit?
No.
Okay. This is a gentleman that's coming in. This may be grandfather. It seems like a couple back. So this is maybe a couple generations back, but he's showing me, I don't know if you're planning on a trip to New York City or Chicago. I'm seeing skyscrapers, and this may be figurative too, but because he's saying to stand tall, just like the skyscrapers. And they're showing you walking down a main road with skyscrapers, tall buildings on either side, but he's saying, instead of looking at your feet on the ground, to look up and look forward and stand tall. So whatever is going on in life, know that you have support, but know that you can stand tall. Don't be afraid to show others that you have that courage too. I'll leave that with Spirit's blessing. Thank you for allowing me to serve.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anne Marie. Thank you for the beautiful messages. All right. All right. At this time, I want to thank everybody for their kind attention. Thank you to all the participants and to the mediums, and most especially to Spirit and all the God of your understandings for being with us here today and sharing this time and space together. So for those who may be new with us, you can learn more about the Church of the Angels at our website, www.thechurchoftheangels.net, or you can email us at thechurchoftheangels@gmail.com. And we're going to enjoy another song from Bobby and then have our closing prayer. So Bobby, take it away.
Okay, was gonna play one song. Of course, it always changes like that. And for some reason, I'm supposed to do this song. So let's see how this one comes off. Mama, take this badge off of me. I can't use it anymore. It's getting dark, too dark to see. I feel I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Sing it with me. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Mama putting my fears in the ground. I can't use them anymore. The long cloud is coming down. I feel I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, 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 knocking on heaven's door. Go ahead, Cindy.
In closing, let us pray. Infinite Spirit, Mother, Father, God, as we move forward, we thank you in advance for the guidance and resources you always provide for us to live the fullest expression of your love. We pray for all those affected by the circumstances throughout our world at this time, and may we be reminded of the opportunities to reconnect in love to all those around the world, to Mother Earth, to the universe. Amen. Thank you, Reverend Bobby. And now I will end the recording and allow us to kind of talk freely. Hold on a second, please. Okay.